Okay. Welcome to the Misfits.
Welcome to
We
the
have a legend.
Misfits.
And
And
cheers.
we always laugh. We still haven't got enough two-sided mugs, so every time I have to cheer from this side, you can't see it.
Yeah,
so I have
okay.
to cheer sideways. Every time I
we
watch
have
it, I'm
a
like,
pink
get
one.
another mug.
We have
So,
a pink one for her.
Yes,
somewhere.
somewhere.
Yeah.
And a legend hat.
Fun ones you'll have to wear. So,
We had
welcome.
we had one man, and we gave him a pink mug and his legend hat, which I don't think he probably ever wore.
No, but he wore it then. Like he handled it well. We did one male legend,
Okay.
and then we were like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
okay.
great.
Yeah.
And he was awesome, but
He was great, but it might not have.
didn't fit our clientele.
Yes.
Our very
target
sophisticated
audience.
women that we are.
Yes.
So.
So happy spring and happy
Yes.
leadership.
Oh, so I love your
Thank you.
scarf.
Thank you
It's
so
beautiful
much.
and
I
pink
appreciate
and
you saying
wonderful.
that.
Yes,
it was
I
a
love
gift
it.
to my mother,
Very nice.
and I stole it.
Very nice.
Borrowed
It's
it.
very cute.
Borrowed
Love
it.
the color.
So
Yeah,
thank you very,
very,
much.
very nice.
Feels
I
very
love it.
spring.
Love it.
So thank you. Now you can introduce Michelle.
No, welcome. We are at a legend session. We always love our legend sessions. We have had some really great legends on, which is amazing that we get to sit with some of these women that are just
Inspiring.
doing such great things for the Lord and just in the world. And so these are our favorite sessions.
Love it.
And it's interesting because sometimes there'll be like Kristen's legends that like somebody she knows that she kind of brings in, or somebody that I know. And so I'm claiming you.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're
She's-
keeping points of whose legends are the best. And so I'm
who
claiming
gets the most likes.
you as my favorite legend already. But
And we planned this a long time
We
ago.
did.
We were like, we can get Michelle.
yes, she's in town. So we're
Yes.
going to snag her while she's in town.
She
You
has these
hear us.
very cool
I know
pants
they
on.
are.
Yeah,
Very
thank
nice.
you.
I need a stylist, I think.
Oh, that's stylish.
No, I mean, it's okay, but like, I don't have anything cool
Well,
like that.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't pull that off. Sean would be like, Tammy, don't. No, like, just don't.
Don't even try.
Stop. Just you're trying, just stop.
When
But-
we go on the speaking circuit, we're
yeah,
going
we're
to
to
get a
get
stylist.
something like that. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It'll kick
Okay.
us off really quick. So, we talk about life work all the time, though, and truth. There's a long pause. Sorry. Truth be told, we try to bring in speakers for life work, and it's very hard to find good female speakers.
I have heard that
Yes.
a lot.
It is very hard to find. And so I have to be honest, over the years, we've tried to bring in some women who have an amazing story. And then they just fall flat or they oversell or I don't know, but we get really bad feedback on most of the women speakers that we bring in. And so when we stumbled across Michelle a few years ago, you came to us from another life work that recommended you, and we're like, hey, we'll take any female that will try at this point. They got to be better than what we're doing. And we have kept her coming every year since because she has just got such a great, unique story. I mean, it's such a God story and such a unique story. And you're so incredibly personable, which is what I love. I tell people this all the time when I'm introducing you to life work, and I say, to the group that's coming in, I'm like, we're going to have Michelle at this session. And I remember our first phone conversation, which I'm sure you don't because your
It's been a
story is
while.
really great. And I was just listening and in awe. I got off the phone with you and I looked at my husband and I said, I just want to be your friend. Like everything about you, I was just like,
cool,
I
the
could go
stories.
hang out and have a margarita or have a coffee with you and feel like I wanted to be your friend. And so there's so much personable conversation with you on top of just a really great story. So when we had Michelle coming in for LifeWork this year, we asked if she would stay past the LifeWork session and just be our legend. And so
And we are great.
I'm so excited for
we
you guys
are.
to hear.
Yeah,
Here we
very
are.
good.
And so she has been in many a room with people better than us.
People with bigger guns than us,
yes,
for sure.
just
Speaking of
much
your arms.
Different, yes. These are different guns, not the good guns.
She's had real guns.
And so I would like you to just start out because I'm not going to do a very good job explaining your background and where you were and what you were doing and kind of who you are and what got you to here. And then maybe we can transition a little bit after you kind of share your testimony because our topic right now is leadership. So then
Okay.
maybe we can just dive into a few leadership things.
Sure. So I was I'm actually from Central Florida. My husband and I spent 10 years in the CIA as undercover counterterrorism officers.
I mean, come on,
like,
wait, say that word again. Like, I can't even say it. We were
Terrorism
10 years CIA counter.
Yeah.
Counterterrorism officers, and we spent the majority of our career in the Middle East, in the Arab world. That's our specialty.
crazy, yeah.
And since then, after leaving, we came in right at 9/11 and left in 2011, 2012. Since then, we've been business consultants, primarily to companies working in the Middle East that don't quite know how to navigate Middle Eastern culture or need diplomacy at very senior government levels.
Didn't you do the Olympics or the rowing team or something?
The America's Cup, we
Yes.
helped the American Magic sailing team
Nice. I didn't know
prepare
that.
for their event in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, very cool.
And this was right around the time of the Israel October 7th attacks. So it was the risk level for Americans, Jews, obviously, Israelis changed, and the Middle East became a very different place. Anyway, so we do all kinds of things since then, but I think probably what has drawn our paths together is the fact that I'm a Christian. I gave my life to the Lord when I was very young, a very little girl. And I took that commitment very seriously, and I said, Lord, wherever you want to place me, I will go there. Like, whatever it is you want. And
Here you are. Like Anna in Baghdad.
told me God doesn't have a very wild imagination and great sense of humor, because he's like, okay, really? All right.
Here we
we'll
go.
see.
Drawing
Did
board.
you ever have, I know I've heard your story about going on a mission trip to Egypt. That was kind of your first. Your family, though, did they have any international ties? Was there, like, as a family you went to Israel, or like any?
Zero.
No, zero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely zero. We didn't have passports. We never traveled internationally.
crazy?
My parents didn't know anything about.
Is that what made you
politics.
like? Do you think that's like why you were attracted to it, or do you think it was just?
I am so I blame it on National Geographic magazine and missionaries at church that would come and talk about the mission field, and I was fascinated by what it is like to live in these foreign cultures and how different they were. When National Geographic, those photographs, like teleport you to another place.
Right.
And I would just pore over those pictures. I mean, it just captured my imagination.
Even young. That's
Very
neat.
young, yeah.
And then tell maybe your first missions trip to Egypt.
Yeah, so
That
my first trip ever outside of the United States, besides the Caribbean, was to Egypt. So this was 1991, a few days after I graduated high school. I was on a plane heading to Egypt. So we worked in the Lillian Trasher Orphanage in Asyut, Egypt for a month. And that was my first overseas
Yeah.
trip. And it was a very life-changing one, and it was very hard.
I bet.
It's really hard. And I'm really surprised that I ever went back to the Middle East after that, because that was like June, July in Egypt, which is really hot
Right.
and really miserable. And we were doing manual labor in an orphanage. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
And now, just a little bit of background. Your husband,
Yes.
tell us his story. He's got a great story too.
Joseph's story is amazing. So we've been married for 30 years.
Which I graduated in 91, so we're the same age.
We're the same age.
And we just celebrated 30 years.
Yes.
So
Nice.
I
That's
knew
so
I liked
cool.
her.
You-
I knew I liked her.
You're such good friends.
Already.
She's just doing anything to be a friend. She's actually been married 32 years now.
That's right, I lied.
So Joseph actually is from Egypt, and he came to the United States after being kicked out of university in Egypt, like kicked out of the entire university system in Egypt because of his Christian activities. His parents ran the orphanage, the Lillian Trasher Orphanage. They had a Bible school ministry, and the government, the Islamic government, did not like that. So he literally was kicked out. A church in Central Florida heard about this, and the youth pastor, bless her heart, on her own said, I know this young man. He needs help. She marched herself down to a Christian college in West Palm Beach. She talked to the president of the college. She was so convincing. He's like, we're going to give this young man a full tuition scholarship. And then they changed the course of Joseph's life by extending to him this miracle.
At Palm Beach Atlantic, which is where my
Palm
son
Beach-
is.
Yes.
Go
Oh,
PBA.
that's right.
Yes. Sailfish.
I was going to ask that.
Yep, sailfish.
Imagine when your life is
Yeah.
falling apart
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
like, your whole family has served God your whole life, and
Right.
then you just run into a wall. You can't do
Wow.
anything about it. You know, you don't,
And you think it's a wall, but it's a door.
well, when you walk with the Lord.
So I don't know if I know, how did Joseph's family come to know the Lord in Egypt?
Because they've been Christians probably since as early as the first, second, or third centuries.
Wow.
So after,
Family just
yeah,
generational.
yes.
Wow.
In fact, people don't know this because Egypt is a huge country. There's 100 million people population in Egypt. After Jesus died and was resurrected, and the disciples went out to the corners of the world, Mark the apostle went to Egypt.
Huh.
And so he established
I didn't know that.
Christianity. By the 3rd century,
Yeah.
Egypt was a Christian country.
Wow.
Very few people, unless you know,
I didn't know that.
you know,
Yeah.
Arab culture of that part of the world. Even most Muslims don't even realize that. But Islam didn't come until the 7th century. So it was a Christian country for a long time. So the people who are still Christians in Egypt are those who have just never converted to Islam through all the persecution. And it's been, you know, for 1,400 years of persecution. So
What would be the percentage of Christians in Egypt?
about 10%.
That's all.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's the largest grouping of Christians in the Middle East. They're in Egypt. Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Okay, so he comes over here to PBA.
Yeah.
You go on a missions trip for
takes,
Jesus.
He takes a group of students from PBA's first international trip outside the Caribbean, and I go on that trip. Yeah.
For him?
I wouldn't say that. Actually, I mean,
Did you know him pretty well prior to that?
so I had met him like earlier when he first came to the United States because the church that brought him over, the pastor's son was my classmate. So I actually
so-
met Joseph when I was still in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so I met him and I was just like, really? I was like, I want to marry somebody just like that. You know, who is who loves the Lord, who knows the Lord, who didn't just decide because he met me that he loves Jesus, that
Right.
separately from me,
Right.
that he was on this course. And I just loved that, you know, his depth. I was like, my gosh, all my friends, all they worry about is partying. And here's this kid who
Yeah.
has already experienced what it's like to be a Christian.
True.
Right. Persecuted
Persecution.
for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so go on the mission trip, fast forward. How'd you get to the CIA? I mean, that seems like
Yeah,
a big
this is a
jump
good-
from
yeah.
like mission
Right.
trip to Egypt to now I'm
Egypt, an
CIA
orphanage.
counter-terrorist.
I know. I still, like, part of me is like, did that really
Did
all
that really
happen?
happen? Yeah.
Because it doesn't even sound real.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm sure it didn't feel ridiculous when you were in it, in the trenches and the bombs and the stuff.
No, it
but
felt ridiculous even then.
what am I doing? I could have been in South Florida.
I
but
can
it's
imagine
great.
explaining this to my
Yes,
parents.
I-
and-
Always
I'm sure your
Right.
parents had a hard time with this.
Well, they were just like, kind of like mind blown. And of course, they, like all of us, we didn't fully know what we were getting into.
Right.
You don't know. I mean, the CIA tells you a little bit at a time as you're going through the process. Even after all your CIA training, remember, we all graduated from CIA tradecraft training. And we said, we still don't know what we're going to actually do on a daily basis as a covert intelligence officer. So anyway, it was
How
honestly-
many are in that training?
we can't.
Oh, you can't say. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Asking the wrong questions.
Right. Don't get
But
us in
I
trouble.
basically was at Georgetown getting my master's in Arab studies and applying to every job under the sun.
What did you think you wanted to do at that time?
I
Like,
didn't
think to
know.
yourself in Georgetown, and if somebody said to you then,
What are you
what's your
gonna
big
do?
dream?
What do you do with an Arab studies
Yeah.
degree? So it's in DC, Georgetown's in Washington. So I'm like, okay, when people graduate, they either work for the government in some capacity, they become journalists, they work for think tanks. And I was like, I'll probably do one of those things. And I just could not wrap my head around what it might be.
Right.
I really couldn't.
Yeah.
I was just like
You
grasping at
just
straws.
knew, like, Arabic studies was what you want to do. You were passionate about it. How did you get into that?
The only thing that, you know, the Lord implanted into me was just a wild desire to continue learning about the Middle East.
Okay.
And so before I went to Georgetown, I did a semester abroad in Cairo, a whole semester studying, traveled a couple other countries in the Middle East, and I felt like the Lord was just saying, study the Middle East, without telling me even why. But I had no other information to go on. I prayed for clarity. I didn't get it. I now can look back on this and say, that's God's way of teaching you how to kind of work things out. Like if he told you every detail along the way, then it wouldn't.
You wouldn't have gone. If he would have said, hey, by the way, Michelle, I'm going to have you.
Right, there's probably that.
You'd been like,
But they're
no.
like little breadcrumbs along the way.
It was a
kind
breadcrumb.
of like,
I love that.
like little just, but when you look back, you're like, oh wow, that was a clear path,
Yes.
right? I think it's,
Yeah.
okay. But I love to hear that like that happens to you, like
Well, I
to
was
people
gonna
that
say,
have like
that's
these great
encouraging
stories.
as we're dealing with our kids,
Right.
Because we both have kids in this place in life where my son's graduating from PBA, this one, and he's like, I have no idea what I want to do.
I know.
You know, and as a parent, you want to be like, I need you to get a job and I need you to make
Yeah.
money. And he's in this exploratory stage of like, all right, Lord, what have you called me to do?
I literally
Right.
feel like that's the worst part of life right there.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Like I just remember the angst
Yeah.
Yes.
and the fear of not getting it right, or the fear of going in the wrong direction.
And there's also so many expectations. Oh, you're graduating. How many times did you get asked before you're graduating? What are you going to do?
gonna
What are you
do?
gonna do
What are
when
you
you're
gonna
done?
do?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I say that to my kids. I'm like, it's not nice of me. Like
Right.
I'm just
hard.
adding to, like, they're smart enough to know they should be thinking about they have to get a job.
Right.
Right? Like,
I don't need to be bugging them.
I don't
every
need
second
to be
of the
saying,
day.
so what is it going to be?
As my son says, Mom, you're in my bubble.
Yeah, get out of my
Like,
bubble.
get out of my bubble. I was like, well, I know. So, okay, so
Not
graduate
knowing,
Georgetown. Don't know what you're doing.
As I'm at Georgetown, the CIA comes to recruit by holding an informational session. What is it like to work for the CIA?
Right.
And so they do this at all the DC schools, the whole
Yeah.
all the area. And I went to that because my friend is like, we should go to that. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll go.
A day in the life.
I'll go.
Can't be that
sure.
bad.
And like I went into the corner of the room and I like squished down because I thought I shouldn't be here. But I put my resume into the CIA box and every other box for every other potential job.
Right.
And it's so funny to say now that that's literally the only callback I got.
Isn't that? I love it.
I didn't
Only
even
God.
get that call back. Hello, this is the CIA. I'd get
Yeah.
the giggles. I'd be like,
You do kind of laugh.
like,
you
for
do.
real?
You're like,
Yeah, except that they've checked you backwards, forwards,
right,
up and down
right, at
before
that
you
point.
get that call.
Yeah, for
Probably.
sure, for sure.
it is a strange
Now,
call.
what was your husband doing at this point?
So,
Is he your husband at this point?
yes.
Yes. Okay.
So it's very convoluted because I was originally hired into the CIA as an analyst, but so I got hired for this job while I was still at Georgetown. By the time I graduated Georgetown and I was about to start this analyst position, the CIA withdrew it from me. It's so convoluted, but anyway, I thought there was something wrong with me. The CIA never just told me that they overhire for positions, and when they fill them, then you're just go.
Right. Okay.
They make it sound like you did something wrong,
Right.
which is not nice. But in this interim where I'm thinking like, oh my God, I just destroyed my only job option somehow unknowingly, Joseph learned about the other side of the CIA that's operations. So these are the people in the field doing like the covert stuff. And he's like, that is the coolest thing I ever heard of. And I said, so well, knock yourself out. Like if you think you're CIA material, go for it. Because clearly I'm not.
Right, they let me know. I'm not. I'm not even the analyst. That's right.
I guess I'm. So he started the process and then he's actually getting through, and he's moving up. And in one of his interviews, the person who interviewed him for 3 hours, they talk to you about everything.
Right.
Because they're trying to really get to know who
Yes.
you are as a
Right.
person. And it's easy to hide it for a while, but after like,
Yeah.
2-3 hours,
Something's
Right.
coming out.
Your
right?
real you is gonna
your
come
marriage.
out.
Your
Yeah.
it's coming out.
How do you feel about your family? How do you do you really love your country? Like all
Right.
that stuff. And he's talking about me, and the person, the HR CIA person was like, wait a minute, you have a wife and she's an Arabist, and she has a master's degree in the Middle East. And he's like, yep. She's like, why is she not here too? And he goes, well, she tried and you guys kicked her out. He told her the story. She's like, oh, that's the other side of the CIA and they don't know anything. Like, bring me her resume.
Oh my God.
And so he brought my resume, and then that started my going through the whole hiring process for the second time at the CIA which, so
Yeah.
fun to go through every
Right.
time.
Oh, like it wasn't bad enough doing it once. You got to do it twice.
again. So then we ended up getting into the overseas component of the CIA, which was clearly what the Lord had in mind. Clearly, the Lord did not have it in mind for me to have the earlier job. So I remind people all the time, when God shuts a door,
Yeah.
it's painful, but you so have to trust that He knows better than we do, and that's probably to save us from a direction we should not go in.
Right.
We
Even
all
with
have
the
those.
CIA.
Yeah. I mean, we all have those,
Yeah.
right?
We all
I mean,
have those moments.
And
Yeah.
they are
stories,
painful.
They are. I mean, and even talking
It's
with
terrible.
our kids now, it's always like, you didn't get this job, there's a reason.
Right.
There's we can see it, but in the midst, it's very hard.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So we got in. We
Wow.
got through
All right.
it.
Did they sort of take you together? Was it sort of always going to be a joint-ish thing?
Well, in this case, it wasn't like, okay, one's a Russian specialist and
Right.
the other's a China specialist.
Right.
We're both Arabas.
Right.
And so, hey, it was great for the CIA. You get 2 for 1.
Right.
We're hiring you 2. We, one house, one car. Like,
Yes.
So it was a great deal. And I think they just thought, like,
like, this is too
Yeah.
good.
yeah, this is
Okay.
great for them.
Are there
Great for us, great for them.
other couples in the CIA like this that are both Russian or both? I mean, I don't know I don't know
Actually,
anybody else in the CIA. You're my only
I
CIA
know.
friend, so I'm not going to ask you all the questions.
We actually have a client that he was undercover. She worked for the CIA
Really?
and he was undercover.
Well, what's his name at the church was CIA. I don't think he was undercover.
I don't know who
He was a
that
life
is.
worker, but not in the same, like not international.
Yeah.
But are there couples?
So there are a few couples. It's very rare that they're both in operations, or that they have the same focus. So sometimes, the man will be a case officer usually, and the female will be doing admin. Like that's pretty typical.
Right. Right.
Always the female gets the admin.
And do they usually
yeah.
meet in the CIA or do they come into it? I feel like there can't be
there's
many
2
people that come into the CIA together.
Right. So most of us that come in are already married. Well, I mean, things have changed these days. I'm sure there's a different generation. So you already came in married, and it was mostly men, and then their wives stayed at home and take care of their kids. Like that was generally what you had.
Right.
The few that came in and were both in operations, not many at all, came in together around the same time. Yeah.
I mean, we thought we had a pretty male-dominated world.
Yeah.
I would say the CIA has us beat.
I'm thinking Michelle.
I mean, maybe
Michelle's
not as bad
got us
now, but
beat
Michelle
in this
might have us
category.
beat,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then working with terrorists.
Yeah. So tell us,
In-
like from a leadership perspective, right? That's what we're supposed to be talking about, and I guess that we should probably ask questions about that because I could sit
I
here
know,
for
the
hours.
stories
This
are
could be a
great. I know,
3-hour
I
interview,
know.
like so fast. But like from a leadership perspective, I think like. How does that work? Like were you tell us what you were like, what a day looked like.
So a day in the life would be you go into work, you log onto your computer, you're logged onto top secret security systems, you read all the incoming, we call it traffic. So all the cables that come in, cables have always intelligence reports that have to do with your part of the world or your region of the world. So you always have to stay up on what's happening all around you. And then every now and then you are involved in operations to either recruit a source or handle a source. So once a source has been recruited, we handle them, which is we set up covert meetings. This takes a lot of
So
effort.
who recruits? You didn't do the recruiting.
I didn't do
of
any
people.
recruiting.
So these are Islamic, Muslim terrorists.
A lot of the recruits that we dealt with were terrorists and insurgents, but there's also some that were not terrorists, had other positions, but they were all Muslim.
All willing to come in and basically give you intelligence.
Which is not a small thing.
Sure, right? Because
Right.
their life is on the line,
Their life is on the
literally.
line. And
Right.
their wife and their children and their brothers and sisters and
Their
their
whole
parents.
family
like,
compound is like
yeah.
Why did they do it?
Well, that's it. I love
The,
that
the
question.
goodness
Yeah.
of their heart. There's
No,
something innate
it's
in them,
money.
or
It has to be
money.
money.
So most often it's money.
because
However-
the CIA pays like a decent amount of money for this kind of stuff. I mean, like
I can't
depending on the
comment on
level.
that,
I mean,
but
okay, I'll
it
comment.
it would
But, like,
surprise you.
The better the information, I bet the more they pay.
I think that's TV. Is that true?
She can't tell us.
Look, we're going to have a debate. I feel like that's so TV-ish that it's not like You think there's some like
Seriously, it's
form out there that
business.
says if you give us this name, we give
No,
you
but
X
it's
amount
business.
of dollars?
It
Like,
is-
it
I
is
mean,
business.
It's business.
True.
So like it's a
That's-
negotiation.
Yeah.
Right.
But also
Look at
imagine
you acting like you know. It's a
I'll tell you.
negotiation. I know the CIA. I got it covered. And my pink scarf.
Right, exactly. Watch out for my big spur. I might hit you with something.
But when you think about like a lot of the places we worked were war zones or places where there was a lot of poverty. So even a small income is a very meaningful income to
Right.
feed your family. And however, there were a couple of incredible sources that did it because, hey, I was a terrorist. Those people use me. I hate that ideology, and I'm willing to risk my life to work against it.
Okay.
Like, they're like gold.
Right.
And was there a team in the CIA that was the recruiting team that like would go
Like
out
they
and find
officer.
these?
So my husband was
Okay.
a case officer. That's
so
a whole
he
job.
found the people.
There's very different ways we
Okay.
do that when they don't like us to get into details of how we
sure,
do that.
of course.
But they recruit, and you recruit trying to figure out their motivation.
Yeah.
You have to know their
Yes.
motivation.
Right.
You have to know why
So
they're
they're
because some of
double
them-
spies, like that's what the TV
Double
like
agents.
double agents, like
Yeah.
right. So you got to know they're not a double agent.
Well, always. That is
Right.
sorry.
So
that's
real.
always what you're dealing with, and a lot of lying sources, a lot of
Right.
fabricators. If I can you pay me if I give you information? Sure, I'll give you information. I'll
Right. I'll come
Make
up
it
with
up.
pull it out of my
something.
butt. You
Right,
know?
I'm gonna make
Right.
it
I'll
up.
come up with something.
So we have those. You're always trying to weed out like the bad intel.
Yeah.
So I forgot what we were talking about.
I don't
Just
remember.
got
We
off
were
topic.
talking about like,
Why?
like a day
Why
in
do
the
they
life
do it?
and
Yeah.
how you found these people.
Yeah.
So, okay. Like,
So then after you have your meeting, then you got to come back and you got to spend days writing up all your reports. Because we always say if you don't write it up, it never happened. Like
Yeah.
the CIA can't do anything with it unless
Right.
you have to document all kinds of details from
do
the
you have to
meetings.
get then like backup to that documentation, or is it just the source is the source?
We want to vet as
Okay,
much as
because
we can.
and the source has been vetted a lot, probably.
Well,
I can't say that.
we should be always vetting
Yes.
sources, but I can tell you that the U.S. government, every agency, every part of the U.S. government absolutely sucks at vetting. We
Yeah.
don't know how to vet.
Right.
Why? Well, first of all, we don't have people who are knowledgeable about overseas cultures.
Right.
So we're
Right.
terrible at
It's
vetting.
fair.
Terrible.
Now, did you guys live amongst the locals?
In most of our locations, and then sometimes we were on a compound if it was like a war zone.
Right. Okay.
So from like did you like how did you lead all that? Like
Yeah,
where you
the
walk
leadership
into a
aspect
room
of it.
and Tammy and I are sitting here and we're willing to give you information. Like how do you lead that conversation? And so somebody said that we have information that you want and we could be faking like is it like how do you lead that well as a female as opposed to not, right? I mean like that's a
Well, and tell your story the first time you got to go in. I think that'll speak to the
Oh,
leadership
okay.
that you used. The
So-
first time you got to interrogate.
Yes. So being a leader is knowing how to establish your authority and your bona fides, right? Because you can't lead people unless they trust you, right? And we talk about being a servant leader, but in these situations,
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
being servant leaders.
Right.
We're
Right.
Can't be a
just-
servant
Right.
leader
Yeah,
there.
because you're dealing with terrorists, so they're very like type A. They're very like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you basically, my first interrogation of a source, which I talk a lot about in my book and on the stage, it was such a challenge because like, how do you establish your bona fides
Yeah.
as a female? Because they think I was so young, I was in my 20s, 30s, and
Isn't that crazy?
I always looked younger for my age. That didn't help. And they thought, Christian, female, American, I mean, the deck is stacked against you. And
Do they know you're a Christian?
they assume everybody
They
is.
did. Okay.
In my case, it's
Yes.
true.
Right.
Yeah.
But
No,
They
that
see
was- that was-
American as a very Christian.
They
If you're
do.
American, you're
Yeah.
a Christian.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially back then. And then, so I really had to go heavy on the establish your bona fides. So speaking Arabic, shaking their hand with a very firm handshake. Body language is very confident. Again, speaking in Arabic to show him I didn't just get off the boat.
Right.
Right.
I know
this.
something.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I would compliment the person I was meeting with. I mean, it's a terrorist, but you're still complimenting on them, turning on their group and giving you intel, and complimenting their efforts and thanking them, and then saying something really smart about either them or their culture or their neighborhood. Like I really had to like lean heavy on the, and I am not like this in life. Like I will never like establish my vote, tell you who I am. No, but here you have to, because that is the culture. So if you're going to lead in a different culture, you got to know who you're dealing with.
Right.
So you got to lean in heavy. And I talk about Iraq and the war and how it's tearing the fabric of society. And I would talk about things that were really deep, that showed a deep understanding of the region. And then I would flip these guys who started out by thinking I'm an idiot.
Right.
And then were like enthralled, amazed, whatever. I can work with that.
Yes.
Like,
right.
Still very excited that I'm a female. So, they want to touch me, they want to hold on to me. And I have to like be very careful to like pull my hand out of their grip and all that stuff. But the leadership is really understanding how to motivate that person sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
How do I motivate
And they're
that
humans,
guy?
and like they were made in God's image. Like that's like, I think I would have a really hard time with that somebody's like a terrorist, and or was. So what was your prayer life like during all that?
Pray for that.
I
pray before going into a
You
meeting.
didn't?
I mean,
that's
Yeah.
a different kind of meeting
That's what
that
I'm
you go
saying,
into to
like-
pray. Like I pray, let me have a
my
good
prayers
meeting.
were very short and very because we were swamped.
Yeah.
We were working every hour of the day. We were awake practically.
Yeah.
So there was no there
Yeah.
was no downtime.
Right.
I mean, we worked so hard for that year. So you're really running on fumes spiritually, and that's the point at which your family and friends, their intercessions for you are so critically important.
But they don't know what you're doing either.
But they know we're in a war zone. They
Right.
know we're in harm's way, and they know we're doing really difficult stuff.
Okay. So
So
they
we
could
were-
know that.
Yes.
They just don't know exactly what you're
details.
doing. So you're
Did
just
they know
saying,
where you were?
They always knew where we were.
They always knew where you were.
Yeah.
So-
So and then we were in places that were never like a comfort.
Right.
Right.
We're like,
Right.
Right.
Like
really?
that doesn't
Do
help
you have
us.
to go there?
Right.
Yeah.
That's not
Do we
helping,
have
honey.
another option?
So what is it like being married to another CIA agent in a war zone? I mean, how long were you married before you guys were stationed there?
Let's see. So that was 2006. We were married 11 years.
So what's marriage look like there?
Well, thankfully you're together all the time. Well, we sat in different offices. I mean, we didn't see each other all day long, but we would, go grab lunch, and he would often eat lunch in the cafeteria. I would bring it back to my desk or dinner. We went and worked out each day in the afternoon. We have good leadership, by the way, who said, you will fall apart if you don't exercise. You actually have to exercise to
That's
deal with
right.
Take your
stress.
HT. What do I have to take?
HRT.
HRT.
That's next month's conversation, I'm telling you.
But I mean, they're like, you need to get out of the office, get into the gym, clear your head. So we would go work out, take a shower, but take a shower really fast because that's tend to when the rockets would come in. So our showers like in, out, and then the rockets would land and be like half dressed. That was really fun. And you need to run to a bunker and oh geez. And then you go grab your food, you get dressed, go grab your food, run back into the office and work till midnight. Like,
Yeah, so you were just
what do you have of a relationship? But you have each other.
right.
People die, horrible things happen, and you've seen pictures all day long of people tortured to death by ISIS. Well, at that point it was Al-Qaeda in Iraq. These are heavy, and sometimes you just have a moment where you're like, today really was awful, and you hold each other, like you hug each
Right.
other, but you're in it together.
Right.
We think
I
we have a
can't
bad day.
Well, but I can't even imagine doing that alone,
Yeah.
I couldn't.
right? I mean, I just can't
Or
imagine.
without the Lord.
Yeah, or without the
Right? I
Lord.
mean, how do these people do jobs like that
Yeah.
without
know.
having... And then I
Yeah.
think there would have had to be, even from your perspective, knowing the Lord, a question of God's sovereignty in all
Right.
this, right? I mean, we talk
Right.
about a lot of times the big questions, but I mean, watching all of that, at some point I feel like I'd have to be like, Lord, for real? Like,
This, right.
what are we doing? Like,
You
how
can-
are you
we
not
know you
stepping
can
in?
fix
And like,
this.
yeah, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
There would have to be some doubt, I think, that I would...
Yeah.
I guess I always understood it like this is people's choices that they've made. You know, we've all made choices, and our bad choices affect other people. You know, in Iraqi culture, you have a culture in which they were practiced at torture under Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
This was decades and decades of a culture of turning on each other and doing horrible things to each other. It was sickening. The level of stuff that we saw or were aware of was really awful. And that's heavy. And I think that's why we only made it like 10 years in the agency. And we're like, okay, we're out.
How long were you there?
In,
Was it the full 10 years? Like, so you're in, you train, and then you were officially like agents for 10 years?
All
Yes.
international.
I would say there was maybe a year back at headquarters during a part of it, and then another maybe almost a year at headquarters at a different time. So there
So
were
you
a
got a
couple
little
of
bit
short
of a-
stints at CIA headquarters. So
Yeah.
And did you both decide you wanted out at the same time?
yeah, we felt it. Like we
Yeah.
knew it. It was very clear to us. Yep. And it was a huge relief.
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah. So was it a hard transition out? Like
Yes.
back to normal life? I mean,
my
I don't
God.
even know if there is such a
I know,
thing
I
then
was
at
just
that
going to
point.
say,
Like how do you
at that point, do you even know what normal life
mean,
is?
yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't because we had, we were in our early 20s. Then we get into the agency,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then we live this crazy life. We didn't know what normal was, and then we ended up starting a business, and it was based out of Abu Dhabi. So we still didn't leave the region. We spent 4 years in the UAE,
There.
in the Emirates, and so it really wasn't until we returned to the States in 2015. I think 2015. Yeah, when we finally started living a normal life.
Right.
And it was very hard.
I bet.
It was very
I'm
hard.
sure we are all incredibly boring to you too.
I know. I was like, how do you even compare that? How can
Like,
I conversations?
I mean, but like even something like that, like you're just you're
it's
going to the
true, 'cause
grocery
you're,
store
You're
and
now
you're-
like, yes,
yeah, and you're like,
you're an adrenaline junkie.
Yes.
Because for 10 years you haven't stopped.
Right.
It's been bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Every hour of the day
Right.
you are working, you're slamming it. And so you're kind of weird. You almost
Yeah.
have to learn how to like not be crazy anymore.
right? No, seriously, I could see that.
Yeah.
Like you just
Just and it was and so part of it was like, oh wow, this is peace, we want peace, and then but then you're like, what do we do next,
Right.
What's
Yeah.
next,
right, right, and
Going
so
to the grocery
create
store.
some adrenaline.
Right.
or people would tell me I'm so stressed out about blah blah blah, and I just
I would
Yeah.
be so irritated at people. I get irritated at people now. I
Right.
can't even imagine like that.
that's where you feel like that's making you sick.
Right,
Are you
that's
kidding me
stressing
right
you
now?
out.
That's
Right.
How do you
nothing.
find a disciple group?
Right. Right.
She's a misfit.
Yes.
Definitely,
sure.
definitely.
Right? Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Which sounds judgmental, probably, and I don't mean it to sound judgmental, but when you've been dealing with life
Yeah.
and death
Yeah.
issues,
I don't think it
you're
sounds
like,
judgmental because I think it's very easy. I think as sometimes we say in our secular
Minuscule little way,
like
yeah.
that people judge us,
Right.
right? And so like I don't think it's intended to be judgmental. It's just like people have no idea.
Or
Where
you
people
can
have
look
been.
and see how people have not pushed themselves past
Yes.
into any areas of difficulty. So their idea of what is difficult, it's like, really?
Right.
That's
Right.
difficult.
You have clearly never pushed yourself into uncomfortable territory.
Right.
And I would say that is 99.9% of Americans.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
a lot.
I
It's
mean,
a lot. It's a
myself included. I mean,
No,
and I
for
think
sure.
I think outside the box or do things outside the box. But truth be told, I
Right.
live very
My word this year
comfortably-
was brave, and I went to South Africa.
Yeah, that's your
On a
brave.
safari.
On a safari, right. That would be hardly the
Or
same.
last year, I
yeah,
should say.
hardly
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah. So no, it's
What
not
would
the same.
be your biggest word of advice to Christian women in the States?
Not to be led by your fear. This is where we absolutely fall down constantly. Because and I said this the other day, and I think it was the Lord, like the Lord's wisdom entered my head, and I said it, and I was like, oh, that was good.
Write that down.
We are wired to be empathetic creatures because we have to raise children, right?
Right.
We're raising children, we're keeping a family, we're in charge of the home. And in order to do that, you have to be constantly mitigating risk. So you become like a safety officer.
Yes, right. It's
Right?
true. It's true.
Now, once those responsibilities are finished, how do you then transition to allowing yourself to step outside the bounds of what's safe, to do things that are uncomfortable, difficult, a challenge to yourself? So I see Christian women like absolutely bound by fear or intimidation. Oh, I don't have what it takes.
Even happens while you're saying, make sure you put on your seatbelt, right? Like, I don't even know. I think we should do it before that season is over.
Yes,
Like, which I
yes,
think
yes.
that's why we have misfits, right? It's not because those seasons are over. It's just because we're like, this has to be different. But because
Bound by
otherwise you
fear.
don't teach your kids.
Right.
I mean, we talk about this all the time. Faith, in my mind, faith without risk isn't really faith.
It's not.
Right?
Right.
Because if it didn't take a risk, then it's no faith
no
involved.
faith
so
involved.
if you're not taking a risk, then it's not really faith.
Right.
When
I
you're
agree.
comfortable and you're just
Absolutely.
doing, I mean, it's how I got to LifeWork.
Yes.
That's the story. I had a very comfortable job at the university. Like, I
Yeah.
had a very comfortable job. I knew it. It was Christian university. I love Jesus. My kids got free college tuition. I mean, it was so comfortable. And I remember going to my husband saying, I don't want a job that I could do with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
Because then I don't need Jesus. And not that I mean to push Jesus away, but I just go to work and I do my job.
It's comfortable.
Whereas when you are doing a job, yours obviously physical risk, but even in normal people, not you, not that you're not normal, but non-CIA people, if I didn't do a job that made me have to risk something, then I'm not stepping out in
No.
faith.
Well,
And
and,
so-
just the it makes you pray. You
Sure,
know,
right.
when you're
Holy
taking a
crap.
risk, you're like, if this doesn't work,
I'm screwed.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm in
Come on,
trouble.
Jesus.
Like,
Yes.
Lord, you
Yeah.
got to come through. And
You have to rely on him.
but what a reward, right? Like, I feel bad for the people that aren't willing to do that because the reward of watching God work is so incredible.
worth
Like,
it.
it will shake your world.
Yes.
And then the next time, you
It's
just
easier.
it's
because
easier.
you've done that.
Right. And that's what I think at the disservice that as Christian women we do to our kids is we teach them the fear part, right? We live in that little like
Be careful.
don't
Don't
be
get
careful,
hurt,
don't
do
cross the
this,
sidewalk,
right.
be careful of the ball, it's
Hold my
going in the
hand,
street,
right,
right?
yeah.
All that. And we never ever say just jump.
Yes,
Like
yes.
just jump. Like
Yeah.
like if this is what God has called you to, just jump. And so I love that you said that because it is, I think that is a disservice
And
that
the
we do.
older we get, the harder it is to take risk.
That's true.
And that's
Yeah.
been as I'm aging. You know, my kids are growing. I'm watching my kids now take these risks, and I'm thrilled for them and excited. Okay, you're going to move here and take this job. And my daughter flew to, you know, all by herself.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I would have never done that. But like watching them. But I feel myself settling.
Yes.
You know, even
sure.
in
It's easy
work,
to
I mean,
do,
we talk
for
about it
sure.
with LifeWork. Like, I'm
For
like,
sure.
it's just easy if we don't do that. And we
Right.
start to settle. And
Yeah.
I think
You
I
know
still
what
have a
I
lot of life left. I don't want to
do.
start settling now, right?
Well,
and
no.
so you have
Right.
to force
You have to
yourself.
force.
Yeah.
We
You
are
have
like
to
at
make a conscious
halftime.
decision. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we got-
exactly.
We have
I
so
have a
much
whole other
runway
half
left.
we gotta
I
do.
mean, we
Yeah.
have so much runway left. But I think, you know, I'm not being critical, but there are so many people that are just like, well, I'm done here.
Yeah, I know. Really,
Right?
you can
Like,
tell, like
like-
how you interact with
like,
people.
Like it's just I'm gonna drink wine and play tennis, and not that that's bad.
Yeah.
But it is
So much more.
there's so
Yeah.
much more, right?
And I think when we say take risks, we're not saying like you have to go out and be in the CIA to
Right.
like, you know, you
That
have to
they would
fly
want
to
me.
the ends
Yeah,
of the earth.
they would not want
Like,
that.
I think people are so empowered by taking little risks and doing something really well. Like
Right.
people will tell me that stupid little thing. I took your advice. I did it. I feel amazing.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm like,
you do.
the little things make
Yep.
a big
Right.
difference.
They do,
It
for
is.
sure. And that's really, and that is leadership.
Right.
Right? Whether it's
Helping others
at
to
work,
see when they need to do that.
and
That's
setting
real
them
leadership.
up, right, to be successful, whether it's your kids, it's people you work with, whoever it is, saying, I see this in you. Like, I can't say
Yes.
how many times I've said, I know you don't think this is what God's plan is, but I can see it in you. This is how God created you. Take it and run with it. And I do think that's like a different kind of female leadership.
It's not a kid. It's just spam.
Oh, there you go.
So,
but I
love
think
that.
that's female leadership because we are created to be empathetic. Like, I think there's such a different definition of leadership when you're in the roles that we're in and we lead people. And like, I just think so many times as leaders that people will follow, it is because we see something in them that they don't see. And it's like, come
absolutely.
on, I just take this little bite of this and I'm going to help you get there. So I
And
love that you
sometimes
said
we
that.
think, well, oh, they must know they're really good at that.
Right.
Well, they may not know. And so you walking in and saying, do you know you're really good at this thing?
Yes.
And here are some other things you can do to develop yourself because you could be doing this over here if you widen your gaze and lift up your head. True leadership is seeing and discerning what people are good at and what kind of support they need. Like my
Yes.
Get Off the X book.
Right.
You're stuck. Do you
Yeah.
know you're stuck? Are you
Right.
aware
Are
you're
you even
stuck?
aware
Can
you're
you
stuck?
recognize you're stuck?
And
Yeah.
how can I help you get unstuck?
Right.
And move yourself forward.
Right. Right.
think
and
that's one
sometimes
of my-
they don't want to. Like, really. Like,
Yeah.
there's some
Yeah.
people that I have managed that
Super
it's like
uncomfortable.
Like, come on, we're just going.
Right.
We're going to do this together. Let's go. You know. And you've done it with your kids. It's like, let me hold your hand through this, and then you can say, oh, look, you blossomed. Right. Like we took 2 steps, but you took the other 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of my biggest fears is standing before the Lord someday. And I think him showing, look what you could have done if you'd have taken the risk, if you'd have trusted me. You know, and I think I'm a pretty big risk taker in general. Like it's just the way God's wired me comparatively. So I'm pretty good at taking the risks. And yet there's still a piece of me that is so fearful, and fearful in a way that I'm like, I don't want to be disappointed that I get to heaven
Yeah.
someday and God goes, look what
Right.
could have been
Yeah.
if you would have.
That's
But
a
you were
horrible
just
thought.
paralyzed
I know.
by fear or whatever that you, and again, the older we get, the faster we realize time's going.
Yes.
And we know that. And
But I don't think God's going to do that. Like, I mean,
I
he's a
hope
loving
not.
God. He loves
Yeah.
us. I mean, I think
hope not.
I don't think he's gonna do
I don't think
that,
he's-
but it is a good.
I don't want to
check,
miss it,
though.
right?
But I do think it's a good opportunity to check yourself
Yeah.
and say, what did I miss today that
right.
God put in front of
Right.
my face?
That's there.
Like-
And I didn't
like-
take it because I was
right.
afraid of it
Whatever.
cost too much money. It made
Right.
us move. It made
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
you know,
Right.
out of our comfort
I didn't
zone.
have time.
Right. I didn't. Right.
I'm just too busy.
Yep.
Whatever. Yeah. So that I think that's a good check.
Yeah.
But I really I
hope
don't
he
want.
doesn't,
I don't.
but man, that's
think
gonna really
God's
suck.
gonna-
There's gonna be that moment. I know there's no tears. We're not gonna cry. We're gonna be like, man, I could have.
I don't think he's
I
going to
just
be
don't
like,
wanna live with
Tammy,
that."
watch this video. These are the
These things you
the
could have had.
417 things that your life would have looked like, and
I
instead
hope
it looked
not.
like this. It's not like
I
that.
hope not. I hope not. I hope not. But I do think of that
Yes.
though, in the sense of
But I think that's a good
just
safety
take
check.
the risk.
Yeah.
Like, am I stuck?
Right.
What's
on
the
the
worst?
X?
Yeah.
Right.
What's
Like,
the worst that can happen if I try
and
this
you
right
have
now?
to have accountability. I think particularly like as women, because it's so easy for us to fall back onto the very basic things that God created us to be, which is empathetic and caretaker and safety patrol and all those kind of things, right? Like, I think it's very easy to fall back to that. So if you have accountability, again, that goes back to, it is leadership to ask for help and somebody to say, can you be my friend and help
check me when I'm on an X,
Yeah.
when I'm stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
I have a friend, one of my mat carriers. She challenged us this year. She bought us each a big, huge yearly calendar, like dry erase calendar, and she asked us to put it on the wall. And she said, "I'm challenging you to do one new thing a month."
I love
And we're
that.
going to chart
That
it on
is
our
good.
on our
Gosh.
calendar.
That's a good
And
friend.
she said it doesn't matter if it's chopping down a tree. It doesn't
Right.
have to. So her first one was she took her family and went curling.
Oh,
And
really?
That's
so I saw a
hysterical.
video the other day and I sent it to him like, this is going to be on my one thing to do. And it was one of those women doing the bungee jump exercises. And it
Oh,
was one of
yes.
the memes where they're spinning and flying. And I was like, I want to do that. But I think it leans to what her and I talk about too, is this idea that I don't want to be stuck.
Yeah.
Right? And so even if it is just one stupid thing a month that I'm forcing
love that.
myself
Right.
to do,
Right.
I
Love
want
it.
to challenge
Yeah.
that. So I love that we're going to do that. I'll let you know what my
This
bungee
is
jumping
good.
is like
This is
when we
good.
do it. So
Yes.
But you're actually going to bungee jump? No.
it's not, no, it's like the
just
bungee jump exercise where you're attached to
got
the
it.
wall in like an
Got
aerobics
it.
room and you're
I went
bouncing.
skydiving
sounds fun.
at, the,
So, I
at
mean-
the skydive, whatever that place is called. That was fun.
Oh, in the box.
Yes.
Not real
Okay,
skydiving.
it doesn't need to. it still felt like you were
But if you
floating.
fell, you only fell 2 feet.
Yeah, and there was a net to
Right.
too. I mean, you know, no.
Hey,
but
I haven't done it,
hey,
though.
I was
That's something
brave.
new.
I
You
was
were
brave.
brave.
That
I
was
need to
last
do
year
it.
for my birthday, and it was when I
need to
turned
do it.
60, and I was brave.
So proud of you.
Thank you. You could be my friend too. You could be just her friend. So.
Oh, goodness. Well,
Anyway.
Michelle, thank you for
Yes.
coming. I know we're all out of time. And I know we could share a lot more, and you've got a
goodness.
lot more stories, so we can maybe bring you back again.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But
That would be
appreciate you
great.
being here.
Next year, same time, same place.
Yes,
Sounds good.
Tell us your books.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So
I
break
could've had
We
it.
know how to
I
put
could've
them
had
in
it.
the thing. The production
okay.
team will
Brought
work
it.
on that.
I showed you.
book number 1, Breaking Cover, a memoir with all the crazy CIA
Fun book.
stories.
I loved that book.
And then
And
get
you
off.
had to sort of wait to be able to release that, right? Because I think I remember that
complicated.
from your
To get it cleared
talk.
by the CIA.
The CIA had to
Took
clear
a long
it.
time.
Yeah.
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 Um,
Which
and
makes
then-
it even cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And then the second book is Get Off the X, which just came out last year. And it's to help people get unstuck.
Get
It's
unstuck.
exactly what we're
great.
talking about right now. But I'm a storyteller because I learned through people's experiences and my own. So I tell amazing stories of people who got unstuck in crazy situations. Like a gentleman who was in Kuwait when the first Gulf War started and was taken as a human shield by Saddam, and he was one of the human shields for 4 months or 4.5 months.
No, that's something to put on the resume.
You know,
That would
talk about getting
unstuck you.
stuck. Like you didn't get yourself stuck, but now you're
Right, you
stuck.
are
And like,
stuck.
how are you going to handle this?
Right.
Like emotionally, spiritually, mentally. My sister, who was a teenage mother at 16, that's another story.
Wow.
I have another story of a couple, a friend of mine, that were from Jacksonville who both lost their job on the same day,
Oh,
husband and
good,
wife,
yeah.
and their residents.
Wow.
Like, so there's all these incredible
Yeah.
stories in book number 2. That,
Oh, good. I want to read that.
Is there going to be a book 3?
I hope not.
Not easy to write
risk
about.
taking, right? So,
I sure hope
I'm
not.
sort of stuck on the X about the book thing.
yeah. Yeah, she's been talking about writing a book forever and just hasn't gotten unstuck.
Nope, I don't have anything to say.
You
what I
do.
tell myself.
That's what you tell yourself.
So.
But all right, so check
So-
out her books.
Yes,
and,
we'll put 'em in the
Yep,
comments.
you can find them anywhere, everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And thank you. This was
Yes,
so
it
fun.
was fun.
This was so great.
Thank you. All right,
We'll get
so-
on Tammy's next chapter.
Yeah,
regarding
I
her
definitely
health.
get bonus points for Michelle because she's CIA, so I should get bonus points for
No, but
Legends
I
with
meant
that.
we're now going to be talking about your health.
Oh well, that's the next one.
Yeah, so
Get
cheers.
more
On
flat on
Cheers.
that
that note, cheers. Thank you, Michelle.